Is your website required to have a privacy policy on it? Let's find out. Hey there, I'm Sam Vanderwielen, an attorney turned entrepreneur who helps online coaches and service providers learn how to legally protect and grow their online businesses using my DIY legal templates and my Ultimate Bundle program. And here on YouTube, I share new videos each week teaching you how to legally protect and grow that online brand, making sure that you feel confident to shout about it from the rooftops. Hit subscribe so you can catch each of my new episodes and leave me a comment saying hi, letting me know that you're new here and that you just subscribed so I can say hi. And of course, ring that bell if you want to get a notification every time I post a new video on YouTube each week. In this video, I'll teach you what you need to know about whether or not your website and what you're doing on it would require you to have a privacy policy and how to easily get one. Okay, so before I get into the 4 things that would definitely qualify you for having to have a privacy policy, let's just quickly recap what a privacy policy is and how it fits into the policies that your website needs in general. So a privacy policy is one of the 3 website policies that coaches and online service providers typically need on their websites to make sure it's legally legit. So a privacy policy is the one that we tell people what we do with their personal information, how we collect it, how we protect it, what they can do to get it out of our hands if they want to, and even, what are the steps that we're taking to make sure that we don't get hacked or have our website taken out or have their personal information stolen from us. You've definitely seen some generic privacy policies out there, and while they tend to be so-so, the really important thing is that your privacy policy is actually just true as to you and how you run your business and the way that you run your website, right? So everybody's website is different. We're all using different tools and programs. We're collecting people's personal information differently, and we're using it for different purposes. And so what's more important than anything is that you have a privacy policy that's true as to you and how you run your business, not that you just have any old privacy policy. Because to me, it would actually be a little bit worse if you had a privacy policy that you just slapped up onto your website, but that wasn't actually accurate, because then you're kind of like falsely putting out what you do on your website when it's not true. So as always, as I always say, and I teach my customers all the time, truth is always number one. It just matters more that you actually tell people what you're doing, what you're not doing, and not try to represent it any differently. So privacy policies are not one size fits all. What might be on mine wouldn't be right for you and vice versa. And so it's really important that you have your own. At the end of this video, I'll share a little bit about where you could get it. Okay, let's get into 4 things that definitely make it so that you have to have a privacy policy on your website in order to comply with the law. The number one thing that would require you to have a privacy policy on your website, so this pretty much knocks out everybody, is whether or not you collect personal information on your site. Now, you might think like, I don't collect personal information, but I bet that you do. So if you have a contact me form, that's something that would qualify you as collecting personal information. If you're building an email list, that's something that would require, that would say that you're collecting personal information that would require you to have a privacy policy. And when I say personal information, that can be something as simple as like name, birthday, address, obviously, email address, anything like that would qualify you as collecting personal information. I'm not talking like social security numbers or, credit card information, which would obviously also count. But I just think that what falls under the definition of personal information is often a lot simpler than people think. A second thing that would require you to have a privacy policy on your website is whether or not your website or any of the tools or software or plugins, if you use WordPress, are using any sort of tracking or behavior analysis on your website. So this can be something as simple as Google Analytics. It can be also something that tracks, randomly through, or not randomly, but more anonymously through like an IP address, right? So it's not giving you the person's name and like contact information, but they have the IP address, which is you can find out a lot through that. If the website is tracking that, then that would qualify you to have a privacy policy. Now, a lot of times if people aren't super savvy or familiar with their own website, they're not sure whether or not they're tracking people's information. I always say to err on the side of caution, just say you probably are, because most websites give you some sort of, data as to like who's going on your site, what pages they're reading, the traffic, all that kind of stuff. And if you ever worked with a web developer or designer to create your site, then they are the person to ask. The third reason you'd be required to have a privacy policy on your website is whether anybody who, let's say, lives within the state of California or anyone who lives within the European Union can visit your website. right? So a lot of times people will be like, I don't even care if people from the EU come to my site. I'm not trying to work with people from the EU. It doesn't matter. So at least as far as I know, we're not really able to, or at least we just don't block people from, the EU from visiting our website. People who live all over the world can visit our website, which is a cool part about having a website, in my opinion. And so it is important then that we comply with not only the European law that requires us to have a privacy policy that has certain language in it, thanks to the GDPR, that's the General Data Protection Regulation, that applies to all of us who have websites where people from the European Union can visit our site and we're collecting personal information. California also has a similar law, right? Where if anybody from California, if a California resident can visit your website, we are also required to have certain language within our privacy policy, as well as just have a privacy policy. So again, I think you can probably see that all of these signs are pointing towards just like, you need a privacy policy. Last but not least, the fourth reason why you would need a privacy policy on your website is if you run Facebook ads. So a lot of people don't know this, but if you run Facebook ads, you have to have a link to a privacy policy on any page that you're sending people to through that ad, or Facebook can actually kill your ad. So not good. We definitely want a privacy policy, and you can't just pop up any old privacy policy or like a blank page. It actually has to be a privacy policy, and they have mechanisms for which they can actually check on this and make sure that you have a privacy policy listed on any page that a Facebook ad runs to. Okay, so after watching this video, you're probably like, oh, I definitely need a privacy policy. And like I've mentioned a couple of times, if you're not really sure, or if you're building your business towards any of these things that I've talked about today, just get a privacy policy and get one on your site, right? So if you need a privacy policy or any of the other two website policies, which are a website disclaimer and a terms and conditions document, I offer those all as DIY legal templates. And all three of those website policies are 3 of the 10 templates that are included inside my Ultimate Bundle program. So you can shop any of my a la carte DIY legal templates, which are simple fill in the blank legal documents that you can download and fill in the blank in less than 15 minutes, because each and every one comes with a how-to video tutorial from me walking you through how to fill it out and simply just put in your personal information. But like I said, all 3 of those website policies, along with all the contracts you would need as an online coach, are included in my Ultimate Bundle program, which you can learn more about in the link in the description. And the best way to get any of my legal templates or the Ultimate Bundle is by signing up to watch my free legal workshop, 5 Steps to Legally Protect and Grow Your Online Business. I'm going to throw in a huge discount and a bunch of bonuses if you watch the workshop and decide that the bundle's right for you. So you can click the link in the description to watch my free legal workshop now, shop my templates, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions at all when it comes to privacy policies. Until next week, I'll see you then.